SNP spokesperson Alison Thewlis.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I want to thank the speakers that have come and raised their voices on behalf of the people of Gaza today. Madam Deputy Speaker, we are here today in condemnation of the atrocities committed against innocent people in Israel by Hamas on the 7th of October. We are here today in condemnation of the atrocities committed by Israel against innocent people in Gaza on every day since. We are here today in condemnation of the taking of hostages, of indiscriminate violence, of maiming, of the use of snipers, of the use of rape and sexual assault, of starvation, of attacks on places of worship, schools and hospital. It must stop. It must stop now. A pause is not enough. Filling the bellies of starving Wains one day just to bomb them the next is not acceptable. Pregnant women, those who have not miscarried or suffered stillbirth due to the unimaginable strain of living in a war zone, cannot time their labour from whenever that pause might fall. ActionAid have reported that Al-Adwa, the only functioning maternity hospital in northern Gaza, was hit 3 times in the past week. It is intolerable. Colleagues across this House have outlined the horrors in Gaza. Of Wee Rind Hijab, only 6, of the poet Rifat Al-Arir, of Dima Al-Haj, who lived in Glasgow, killed alongside her 6-month-old baby, her husband and 2 brothers. Dima was a health worker for the World Health Organisation. Dr Abdul Latif, a colleague of my honourable friend from Central Asia, lost 50 members of his family, including children and grandchildren, when their home was bombed. The journalist, Wal Al-Dudi, lost his wife, daughter, 2 sons and other family members. I highlight these stories because when you get beyond the over 100 journalists, the 150 UN workers, the estimated 400 health workers, the 30,000 of our fellow human beings who have been killed, their stories become a cacophony of tragedy. It cannot be anything other than collective punishment. And as the International Court of Justice have found, a plausible risk of genocide being perpetrated by Israel. And more deaths will follow without a ceasefire, without allowing in a full flow of humanitarian aid, which Israel has been holding up. The Palestinian Red Crescent has seen their life-saving work disrupted by Israeli forces. There is a real fear for the people of now sheltering in Rafah, 1.4 million of them, if a further attack lands upon them. There are many ways to die in Gaza: disease, starvation, as well as by bombardment. And what of those who survive? The 1.9 million displaced, homeless, destitute, left among the rubble of their lives, orphaned, the 70,000 injured and suffering enduring trauma. We must not forget those people either. I have listened carefully to activists from the Gaza Families Reunited campaign who want to allow their families in the UK to reunite and bring families to sanctuary here. The UK has granted very few visas to Palestinians over the years, only 1,300 since 2014. My honourable friend from the North has previously talked about Dr Luba Hadoun. In Glasgow, my constituent Sama, Reem, who I listened to on a call yesterday, Grace Franklin and Alison Phipps, who have Palestinian friends, none of them have found a safe and legal route because none exists. People are fundraising to bribe their way out of Gaza for lack of a safe and legal route, all the time worrying about news of whether their relatives are dead or alive. There has been a scheme for Ukraine. Why is there yet no scheme for Gaza? I will indeed.
I'm grateful to my honourable friend for giving way, and I know that some of the questions that have been asked of us today have been, how do we know what's going to happen if there is a ceasefire? Does she agree that the real problem is that we know exactly what's going to happen if there's not a ceasefire, and that alone should be enough to make sure we vote for one tonight?
Hear, hear.
I thank him for his point, and that point is absolutely crucial. If there is no ceasefire, as we continue as we are just now, we know what the consequences of that will be. The consequences of that will be thousands more people will die. We don't have to question that. We know that that will happen. And it is on our conscience if we choose not to act. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have never had more emails about an issue, and I know that is common for many colleagues around this House. Currently, over 3,000 people have got in touch with me about this issue. The ongoing demonstrations outside this House and in towns and villages and cities across these islands shows the strength of feeling on the conflict in Gaza, bringing together people from all backgrounds, people who have never protested before, but who see an injustice happening and they want us, as parliamentarians, to do something about it. We all know that peace can be possible, but that it starts with tentative steps. Ceasefires are not easy. The honourable members from Foyle and Belfast South gave their experiences, and other colleagues brought dispatches from their conversations and visits in the region. We are under no illusions of the challenges, but we must try. In this place, we have a duty, we have an obligation, a very special obligation when it comes to the Middle East. And every moment we delay and equivocate, more people die. It could not be more crucial than that. This is not a debate about semantics or procedure, it is about principle. It is about the people of Gaza. It is about saving lives. The hostages must be released. Aid must be allowed in. Negotiations must begin. And it is on our consciences, on all of our consciences here in this place. If we do not stand with our international partners, with countries around the world, with international aid organisations, with the United Nations, we must have a ceasefire, and we must have a ceasefire now.